Zara was 17, the chief's only daughter, and she walked like the grand older thanks for carrying her. Tall, pretty, and always wrapped in fabrics that caught the light, she could have been the darling of the town. Instead, she was its thorn. The problem wasn't her face, or her clothes, or even the way she clicked her shiny sandals on the road. The problem was simple. She acted as if greeting people would shorten her life. Every morning, the elders sat under the big mango tree in the square and watched her walk by. They waved, nodded, and smiled kindly, but Zara never greeted them back. She just walked past like nothing happened, as if their greetings didn't matter at all. "Fine child, empty mouth," one old man muttered, twisting his walking stick. "Beauty without manners," another added, and the small circle hummed. Zara's mother, Mrs. Amara, tried gentle reminders. "A greeting opens doors, Zara," she would say while combing Zara's hair for school. "You do not know when you will need the person you pass today." Zara smiled the way people smile at advice they have no intention of keeping. "Mommy, everyone knows me already. If I greet every single person, I'll never reach class." Her father, Chief Obi, kept his disapproval quieter, folded between the pages of his newspaper. "Our leader's child must be the first to greet," he said one evening, not looking up. "People watch you to decide how to behave." Zara checked her reflection in a window and adjusted her earrings. "People watch me because I'm Zara. They will behave how they want." The village watched indeed. At the market, on the road to the stream, along the school fence, women balancing basins on their heads shifted aside to let her pass and received a hiss for their trouble. Children playing in the sand paused to wave and got air for an answer. Classmates who said good morning found themselves speaking to Zara's shoulder. On Saturdays, the market was busy and full of life. Fish scales shining, tomatoes stacked high, traders shouting prices. Zara walked through without greeting anyone. She ignored the woman offering roasted plantain, passed the basket seller calling her, and laughed off the tailor who reminded her about her fitting. "Pride will finish this one," a paper seller muttered. The words were not cruel. They were tired. Then one day, Mrs. Kate, the school headmistress, rang the school bell. She stepped forward, her voice carrying over the crowd. "Tomorrow, all senior students must assemble here with your parents. A special visitor is in our village and she wishes to meet you after your exams." A low hum ran through the students like wind through leaves. "Who is she?" someone whispered. "Maybe she's from the government." "No, I heard she's a celebrity." Zara crossed her arms, unimpressed. "Probably some woman who wants to lecture us about studying harder. I have better things to do." But her friend Anita nudged her. "Zara, you can't skip it, oh. The whole senior class has to be there." Zara rolled her eyes. "We will see." The next morning came too quickly. Zara had overslept, she grumbled, dragged her feet and decided to take the bush path shortcut to school to avoid walking with the crowd. Halfway along the path, she saw a woman standing under the shade of a large cashew tree, looking around with an uncertain expression. She was clearly not from the village. Her clothes were modern and stylish, her handbag too new to belong to anyone in the village. She stepped forward with a polite smile. "Good morning, dear. Could you point me toward the main road? I think I took a wrong turn." Zara slowed, glanced at her neat blouse and gold wristwatch, and smirked. "Do I look like Google Maps to you?" The woman blinked, caught between surprise and confusion. I just needed directions." "Then maybe you should ask someone who has time to play tour guide." Zara tilted her chin higher. Without another word, she walked past, her sandals tapping against the damp ground. The woman's eyes followed her for a moment, before she turned and walked in the opposite direction. By the time Zara reached school, she had almost forgotten the exchange. It was just another small encounter she had brushed off. That afternoon, Mrs. Kate rang the assembly bell herself, a rare thing that drew even the laziest students to attention. Parents had been called too, and they now sat at the back of the gathering murmuring among themselves. The visitor hadn't yet spoken, but she was seated at the front facing away from the students. Zara did not notice her face. She was too busy looking for her friends in the crowd. Mrs. Kate stepped forward, smiling brightly. "Our special guest will now address you." The visitor rose from her seat and turned. and Zara froze. It was the same woman from the bush path, the same one she had refused to help. The woman's gaze swept over the gathered students, pausing for just a fraction of a second when it met Zara's eyes. Then she smiled politely at the rest of the audience. Zara's heartbeat thudded in her ears. The schoolyard went silent as the visitor stepped forward. She introduced herself with a warm smile. "My name is Mrs. Elaine. I am here to give back to a place that reminds me of where I grew up. After your senior exams, I will sponsor 5 students through university, full scholarships, all expenses paid." The crowd erupted. Parents whispered excitedly, students grinned at each other. A chance like this almost never came to a small village like theirs. Mrs. Elaine raised her hand to quiet them. "But I will choose carefully, not just based on grades, but on character. You never know when you might be meeting someone who can change your life." Her eyes scanned the crowd again and locked on Zara. "Stand up, please," Mrs. Elaine said. Zara's stomach dropped. Slowly she rose, trying to keep her face neutral. Mrs. Elaine's voice was calm, but every word carried. "This morning I was lost on a bush path on my way to this school. I asked this young lady for help, and she told me that she was not my Google Maps." She paused, tilting her head. "Well, dear, I am not your Google Maps either, so I will not be pointing you towards this scholarship." Gasps exploded from the students and parents. Mrs. Elaine turned back to the audience. "Character matters. The way you treat people, especially strangers, says more about you than any exam score. Remember that." She began calling names. One by one, students stepped forward to accept their scholarship letters, their parents beaming with pride. Zara stood frozen in the middle of the yard, heat burning her cheeks, every clap for someone else feeling like a slap to her own pride. The 5 names were called. Hers wasn't one of them. As the assembly ended, Zara's father walked past her without a word. Her mother sighed heavily, following him. Zara stayed rooted in place, watching Mrs. Elaine speak warmly with the chosen students. She remembered her mother's warning, "A greeting opens doors." She remembered her father's, "A leader's child must be the first to greet." And she realized too late, sometimes the door you slam shut in pride is the one you wish to walk through most. Hope you learned something today. See you in the next video.